Welcome to Raregivers 2023. It has been an amazing month of wellness. We've been broadcasting live on our YouTube channel for Angel Aid Cares every single day this month, sharing with you the gifts of wellness, talking to you about really inspiring stories of our caregiver community, of patients and professionals that support the work that we do, and of making our personal appeal to you to support the work that we do. So I'm going to go ahead and jump in. Today is all about our global story. So Angel Aid from the very beginning has made the decision to support patients, parents, and professionals around the world. And to do that, we've been in partnership with Microsoft. And that is so important because Microsoft has technologies and has employees that have been helping us translate our methodologies into various different languages, including Hindi. So it is our stated intent to host our very first Hindi speaking Raregivers Wellness Retreat in 2024, and we need your support to do that. So I'm going to pull up someone that is just so incredibly inspiring to me. This is a woman named Smriti Bhattacharya. She is one of our original Angel Aid volunteers. She works at Microsoft. She actually volunteered as an employee to help us with our Hindi translation. Now, we have since gone on to translate our wellness methodology, the Sustainable Caregiver, into 8 different languages. And in fact, we ran our very first wellness retreat in just outside of Mexico in Spanish this year, thanks to your support. What we want to do is we want to inspire our community to continue this work, continue supporting caregiving communities around the world within the rare disease space, and including Smriti. And then these are her 2 adorable boys, which we're just so grateful to see here. Angel Aid is a global nonprofit network. We provide personal connection and emotional support to patients, parents and caregivers, and healthcare professionals in rare, chronic, and complex disease communities around the world. These are individuals that feel very isolated in their medicalized lives and very overwhelmed with many of the realities that we'll talk to you about in the future. We want to bring daily compassion and relief to this community, and I'm just so proud of the work that our team has been doing and our volunteers to support our work, and also specifically to you, our donor community, for helping us achieve these objectives. Our goal is to support 3.5 million Raregivers by 2026, and I know that this is achievable. We're well on the path to making that a reality. If you wonder, like I do, because I'm a very analytical person, if you wonder what the donations are going towards, here's a donation guide. So your donations are going directly to support live calls with our mental health and wellness practitioners, to support weekly and monthly support groups that bring these individual family members together, going towards programs that combat often medicalized issues, which are things like needle fear and needle phobia. We actually have a whole wellness program to help with that distressing reality for many families. Your dollars go towards our Raregivers retreats. It's about $1,000 a year to support a Raregiver. This is a mother or a father that comes together, receives our training, and then a whole year of support services on top of that. So at our guardian level, you're sponsoring this full year of support services. And then our archangels are really our change makers in the community, helping us sponsor and take these services into different countries. If you're a Microsoft employee, we ask you to go to aka.ms/angel aid, and you'll be making your donations on Benevity. When you donate through the Benevity portal, and you're a Microsoft employee, those donations are matched during the month of October. So please make your donations today. And if you're on the Angel Aid side of the world and want to support our work, please go to angelaidcares.org/give. Okay, so why did we start all of this? There is a purpose, and often when inspired action hits a human heart, it's because of some personal experience. So this is the Barrett family story. This is my story. My parents, Richard and Phyllis, are just the strongest people I know. Richard and Phyllis actually met in high school here in Southern California. He was captain of the football team. She was head drill team leader. They fell fast in love and they got married at 19 in 1963. They really wanted a big family, so they had 5 kids in 8 years. And you can see my oldest brother, Richard Adam, and then there I am, the youngest. But my 3 middle brothers, David, Jared, and Randy, they were developing quite different than Richard and I. And it took many years, what is often called the diagnostic odyssey, for my family to actually figure out what was going on. And you can see from the photos there that they're expressing these coarse facial features. And in fact, David, Jared, and Randy were born with a rare genetic disease called mucopolysaccharidosis, or MPS2, Hunter syndrome. MPS claimed the life of my 3 older brothers. They passed away at 12, 18, and 19 years old. And the stress in the family of caring for 3 very, very sick children and 2 healthy children and all of our realities actually broke my parents apart. And this is so often the case within rare disease families, that the difficult things that happen in couples and marriages and families and relationships happen in a very acute way to rare disease families. And that was a reality for my parents. If you stick to the end of this broadcast, I will give you a Hollywood ending to this story, which is true. But in the meantime, just know that as my brothers were passing away, we were doing the very best we could as a family to just love on them, love on each other, and find some grace in their passing. Okay, so in those harsh realities, there is this questioning that happens. And I can tell you, I've spent a lifetime thinking about, why do people suffer? What is it about the human experience that makes this a reality for everybody? Because the illusion is a life without suffering. There is always the yin to the yang. There always is the dark to the light. And the joy and the pain in our family gave me this perspective that suffering actually sows the seeds of empathy. It's this empathetic response that makes us human. And it's in the suffering that our hearts are marinated in this openness, this receptivity to our fellow man and woman, really to just open up our hearts and be there for another person as they're going through a very, very difficult experience. And this reality is global. Okay, so we talk about the human condition, that the suffering is out there, and it's the meta crisis right now. It feels like we're getting hit from every perspective. We're getting hit from climate, from the war zones that we're living with, and from these medical crises like the pandemic. And because of the pandemic, I think we as a human community have this sensitivity for each other that we've never had before. And it's an important one to point out, especially in the rare disease community. So if you've never heard of rare, rare is not rare. Rare is affecting more people than AIDS and cancer combined. There are more than 10,000 rare diseases that have been classified as rare. Probably many diseases that you've heard of: Tay-Sachs disease, multiple sclerosis, cystic fibrosis, ALS, Lou Gehrig syndrome, and maybe other more obscure diseases like scleroderma and Duchenne muscular dystrophy, and Pompe disease, and Fabry disease, and mucopolysaccharidosis, right? So we've got massive amounts of diseases and a giant community of families, 350 million people suffering from rare diseases around the world. And here's the number that hit my heart. After witnessing the demise of my brothers, after witnessing our family being broken up because of this reality, 0 cures. Okay, 350 million families times 0 cures means you've got a global mental health crisis on your hands. Okay, and this is what we call empathy math. Okay, this equation, empathy math is 350 million patients, caregivers, the professionals that support them, times 0 cures. Okay, so when you're looking at those realities, then you start thinking on a global scale. What is it that we can do to bring relief to these families? Because we are trying to accelerate the science. You know, there has been 100 years of progress in the medical and scientific community. And I do believe that we're going to see more treatments and actual cures to these diseases in our lifetime. But in the meantime, we have a fundamental human right to good health and well-being. Okay. And certainly the physical health, there's an assumption there that we should do all we can to fix these diseases. We also have an assumption of mental health and well-being, and not just for our patient loved one, but for ourselves. Okay. And separating out the two psyches, everything that you would do as a caregiver for your loved one comes naturally because that's the human condition. Empathy is the core of what makes us human. What I would offer to you is that you as an individual are worthy of the same loving energy that you're giving to your loved one. You need to love yourself as much as you love them. Okay. And that doesn't come naturally always. That's why we have to encourage our groups to tend to their own emotional well-being. And we've been delivering well-being for the past 7 years now. We have grown from 7 women in our living room here at Barrett Family Ranch in Southern California to over 15,000 families around the world that are receiving either daily doses through social media, through email, and through our other communications outreach, daily doses of reminders for self-care, suggestions for how to take back those micro moments. Okay. And those are coming from this amazing practitioner network that we've assembled of psychologists and health and wellness experts, equine therapists, yoga therapists, meditation experts, sound bath therapists, right? So we have an amazing curated group of individuals that's inspiring our community. Remember, we're growing from 15,000 families now to 3.5 million by 2026. So of course we need to have a world-class team that's interacting with our community. And over the past 6 years, we've been able to deliver 21,000 hours of wellness training and experiences into our community. And I can tell you it's making a huge difference. In the words of just one of our rare mothers, she said, "Angel Aid saved my life. I was completely shut down emotionally. I was raw with grief. I'd lost my friends. I'd lost my family members. And it wasn't till I connected through the Angel Aid support groups that I started opening up my heart again. I started opening back up again to people around me. Those support groups have saved the lives of this woman, and that is what the impact that you are having in supporting us. So thank you for all of our supporters. Thank you to Microsoft, who helped us get through the pandemic and actually launch our website, launch our app, translate all of our support services into multiple different languages. We continue to partner with Microsoft, and we're so, so grateful for that relationship. And thank you to TuttleClick, Automotive Group for supporting our work and amplifying, offering matching grants. We have a $50,000 matching grant running right now. If you wonder if your donations make a difference, if you're Microsoft and you donate during the month of October, which means today, the last day, you donate, your donations are matched by Microsoft, and then they're matched again by Tuttle Click, right? So that's $4 for every dollar that you donate, which is just amazing. We're also so grateful to all of our corporate sponsors, Horizon, Ionis, EMD Serono, PTC Therapeutics, Harmony Biosciences, Regenix Bio, Sanofi, and Ultragenyx. You are supporting us in a way like no other, and we're so, so grateful to you. And then we're so grateful to our patient organizations, and you see them listed here. Most recently, we had NORD, the National Organization of Rare Diseases in the United States, joining our network, and that will allow us to partner with 40 centers of excellence for rare disease around the country. Specifically for this campaign, we're going to be launching a pilot with Children's Hospital of Orange County, and we ask you to please support our work so that we can get that pilot off the ground. Okay, so that gives you a little bit of an idea of how we are engaging with the planet, and then also, because it always comes down to what about me? Okay, this is about you. The purple is all about you. So anybody that makes a donation during the month of October is eligible to win a purple. We're going to be doing a purple drawing. The purple is a calming companion. It was named Time Magazine's best invention of 2021. This little guy or gal, depending on how you look at it, comes and just gets connected here at the heart, okay? And you pet the purple and the purple purrs. And so you could actually feel the heartbeat. You can see this, and you could hear the purple, purring, and it's just this sort of really incredible, amazing experience. So the purple is being offered. Where it's an opportunity drawing, and if you donate through Microsoft, we're asking you to please go ahead and click that box that says share my contact information. We actually have to know who you are in order for you to have a chance to win. And then on the Angel Aid side, when you donate, you'll be providing all of that information. So we're going to be combining every single person that makes a donation into our purple drawing, and we will be doing that over the next week, and we will announce it here very, very shortly. So thank you for that. And all of the volunteers and donors who have made this broadcast possible, and all of the 31 days of wellness that we've been providing to our community. Because of your support last year, we were able to take those funds, pool them together. Every donation makes a huge difference. We pool our money together. Hopefully we have some matching grants. I'll just mention it again. We have a $50,000 matching grant opportunity running right now. So please make your donations. But we pooled all that money together, and we offered our very first wellness retreat, our Raregivers wellness retreat, just outside of Mexico City in all Spanish. Okay, so we've moved beyond just pure English. In Australia, we were able to launch a community retreat with the Epilepsy Foundation of Australia, and that ran in April. So we're pulling together funds to be able to offer these programs going forward. And we hosted our very, very first men's retreat during the month of June this year. And so all of these retreats educate. These are like train the trainers. We work with our rare mothers, our rare fathers, and then they learn these tools of self-care, and then they take these programs back into their community. And we host the weekly and the monthly support groups, and then we train up even more of the community members. And it's just like, we're just growing exponentially, and we're bringing relief every single day. So how do we bring relief? We bring relief by partnering with our community to identify the common experience. And this tool, the Raregivers Emotional Journey Map, was actually developed out of a set of exercises that we did. We published we did a meta study of all the published research on the emotional impact of living a medicalized life. And we developed 6 very predictable stages, although they're not always linear. You're popping in and out of stages. But we developed this as a witnessing tool because along this medical journey is feelings. And we say feelings first and then treatment, feelings first and then clinical trial. Feelings first. We need to talk about our feelings and our experiences, be witnessed in them, and then that way we can continue to provide the supportive, sustainable care for ourselves and for others. So these are the witnessing tools. You can go to raregivers.global, download this, as well as a 32-page discussion guide and use for yourself or anyone in your community. And so without further ado, I believe I have the opportunity to introduce a very, very dear friend of mine, the individual that runs an organization that is part of our Raregivers Coalition, Dr. Harsha Rajasimha.
Thank
Raja
you.
Simha, are you there, Harsha?
Hi, Crystal.
We made it work. I love it.
Yes,
So good to see you.
so good to see you.
Yes, perfect timing. So, Harsha and I had the opportunity to actually gather together just over the last week. Harsha, please introduce yourself to our audience, our community, and also talk about this very exciting moment that was celebrated by your organization, Indo-US Rare.
Absolutely, Crystal. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Harsha Rajasimha. I am the founder of Indo-US Organization for Rare Disease. I'm based here in Northern Virginia for about last 23 years. I'm a former Microsoft intern. I founded Indo-US Rare about 5 years ago to build collaborative bridges between various stakeholders of rare disease in the United States with those in India and create new bridges of collaboration and hope for those affected by one of 11,000 named rare diseases. Collectively, we have the burden of about 100 million people living with rare disease in the United States and India combined. And together, we make up a quarter of the world's population. All the families affected by rare disease are going through emotional and financial burden, uh, having social stigma, and their mental wellness and well-being is something we are honored to collaborate with Angel Aid Cares, which so very well have been doing this and providing this support to all families that need this assistance. In fact, everyone needs that. They just may not know, or they may be just neglecting. And so we really appreciate what Angel Aid Cares has been doing for many families that need this service. So glad to be here, Crystal, and happy to support and collaborate.
Thank you. Thank you. And one of the things that I was very validated in the Indo-US Rare Bridging Rare Summit, right? This was the first of the kind, bringing together experts in the United States, both from public and private sector, as well as government sector, with the experts and those doing that deep work in India. Can you talk about the Bridging Rare Summit and share a little bit about that?
Absolutely, Crystal. Thank you so much for being an important part of that 2-day Bridging Rare Summit that just concluded yesterday and day before yesterday. So we had keynote talks by Dr. Peter Marks from the US FDA CBER, or the Center for Biologics Evaluation Research, and a keynote speaker, Dr. L. Swasticharan from the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare in India, followed by a series of 8 sessions covering various aspects such as diagnosis, newborn screening, treatment options, digitization of rare diseases, and AI, machine learning, the role that it can play in building these bridges, and data sharing, which is so critical. And a session focused on clinical trials, which 98% of those happen outside of the most populous country in the world, India, how we can foster more collaboration so that we can have more equitable access to treatments, not only during clinical trials, but beyond, especially for orphan therapies meant for any of these rare diseases. So we were super excited that the inaugural summit attracted such very, very highly accomplished keynote speakers and 62 speakers who spoke at the various sessions and the lunch and learn roundtable conversations that we had informally. So it's super thrilled and honored that the summit went really well. And everyone was so excited to come next year to New Delhi. And we walked away with a lot of action items, creating a blueprint for next year and the next 40 years of Orphan Drug Act, how we can ensure a brighter future for all patients with rare disease through collaboration and engaging the US FDA START program under the leadership of Dr. Peter Marks, uh, where the vision is to really create global cooperation that came out of the COVID pandemic, Operation Warp Speed. You know, what we accomplished in 9 months for COVID-19 vaccine, the same paradigm and a sense of urgency could be created to accelerate and make rare disease drugs at the same speed and also make them universally accessible. What that means is the FDA has now set out a vision to foster global cooperation and help the regulatory agencies in the rest of the world, which have been less engaged so far, and bring them onto the same platform. And so we are so excited about this timing. In the next 12 months, the opportunity to connect the dots between the US FDA, the Indian regulators, and various stakeholders, ultimately the biopharmaceutical sponsors who are going to develop these gene therapies and other life-saving treatments.
Oh, fantastic. And right, I mean, do you see why I'm so honored to be in collaboration with Dr. Rajasimha and also to be inspired by his passion to bring together this change. And in a moment, we're going to play a video that that the team put together. But I want to mention that we also learned from the pandemic how incredibly important it is to tend to our emotional well-being. That the left brain, the default side of our human nature is to want to fix, find the fundamental foundational fix for dis-ease, for disease. And it takes time. It does take time. And along the way, there's so much we can do to bring a heart-led approach, a humanity first, a feelings first approach to all of those that are doing this hard work. The patients themselves that are experiencing these medicalized lives and these conditions and the suffering directly, the caregivers that are caring for their loved ones day in and day out with the chronic stress of just a very vigilant lifestyle and the torture really of all of these different choices that need to be made in terms of symptom management, in terms of pursuing potential diagnoses or pursuing treatment options or inclusion in clinical trials. It's this very long list of triage type activities that need to happen that caregivers are carrying the emotional weight of, not only for themselves but for their loved one. And we've learned and witnessed, even through the pandemic experience, that the healthcare professionals themselves are also on this journey, that this is stressful, that as we're looking for these treatments and cures, as we're providing symptom management, as we're living with the harsh realities of not enough good answers for the fix, that there's so much we can do from a humanistic standpoint to witness these experiences, to ask people how they're feeling, to bring relief through witnessing, through support groups, through hugs first. It sounds trite, but it's foundational. The whole system collapses if we don't have a heart-led approach. And you talk even in your video about the moral imperative. And it's a moral imperative, and it's what makes us human is leading with that empathy first. And I know that you fundamentally believe that. Harsha, that's why we've connected.
Absolutely, Crystal. And as you know, this mission is personal to me as I lost a child to a rare congenital disease in 2012. And so it gave my work and my profession a whole new meaning since then. So it's wonderful to be in the company of altruistic, compassionate leaders who are driving the revolution of orphan drug development and rare disease caregiving. So
Yeah.
honored to collaborate with you.
Thank you. And in fact, you named an award in honor of your daughter. Can you talk a moment about that?
Absolutely. We inaugurated the Abbey Mayor's Cushy Bridging Rare Award that we honored and recognized decades and a lifetime of achievement of two legendary scientists. One, Dr. William A. Gall, who is a senior investigator at the National Human Genome Research Institute at National Institutes of Health here in Bethesda, Maryland, and another doctor, Dr. Ishwar Chandra Verma, who is the recipient of Padma Shri this year by the government of India for his decades of service in rare medical genetics in India. He is fondly uh, called as the father of medical genetics in India. And both of them were present in person with their family to accept the award. So kind and generous as they are both so well accomplished and continue to work hard even at after having received many lifetime achievement awards. And we named it Abbey Mayers Cushy because Dr. Abbey S. Mayers is the force behind the Orphan Drug Act of 1983, which started a revolution in developing and accelerating therapies for rare diseases, as they don't necessarily start with an economic incentive for pharmaceutical companies to develop these drugs for a disease that only affects fewer than 200,000 people in the United States. And so the Orphan Drug Act has led to the development and approval of 1,100 orphan drugs as of today. And so that revolution needs to continue because there are 11,000 diseases, and there's only 7% of these diseases have an approved treatment, which is where we are focused on. And Kushi is the name of the daughter that I lost to a rare disease. Kushi literally means joy or happiness in many Indian languages. And so Dr. Abby S. Mayers, who is based out of Connecticut, kindly allowed us to use her name along with my daughter's name to form this Bridging Rare Award that we just had the inaugural awards given to these fine legendary scientists.
Beautiful. It's so beautiful. And I was there to witness it, and it was magical. You created this amazing night, brought in these incredible dancers. I felt like for a few moments I was in India, even though I've never been to India. And I am so excited to attend. I understand you're going to be doing the summit, back and forth between India and the United States. So next November of 2024, it will be in New Delhi. We are working hard to raise funds to offer our very first wellness retreat experience and training program in New Delhi in language, so in Hindi. And it was a woman named Smriti Bhattacharya from Microsoft that actually did our very first Hindi translation of our wellness methodology, the Sustainable Caregiver. Our methodology has been through an independent review board. It's been through ethics review. We know the deep therapeutic benefit it has to run through these exercises and to bring community together, not just for that moment while they're doing the training, but to provide the foundation for the ongoing support, because that's what's needed here. Is while we're doing the good work in research and science, we need to inspire the community to support each other emotionally, so they have the emotional resilience and the sustainable energy to be able to continue, also to find meaning in their loss, because so many in our community have lost a loved one. And it's these superheroes like you, myself, and others that are actually bringing change within the rare disease community in honor of those that we've lost. And we want to continue that trend going forward.
Thank you, Crystal.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, well, one last thing that I wanted to touch on, and then we'll show the video and we'll wrap up on this interview. It has to do with artificial intelligence and the ability of technology to help with a very basic use case like language translation. And I think out of anywhere in the world, what I learned at the Indo-US Bridging Rare Summit is that India is this complex environment with so many different dialects and communities and rural as well as cosmopolitan communities. Can you talk about India as a community of challenge in order to bring this kind of support services? We're gonna need to partner with technology capabilities. I'd love to hear your perspective on that.
Absolutely, Crystal. Happy to. And we learned so much more about India than we knew ourselves at this summit. As even though I was born and raised in India until I was about 22, and I have been in the United States for about 23 years now. And we learned that India is composed of 4,600 genetic populations, subpopulations within India. And a fantastic keynote talk by Dr. K. Thangaraj, who led the Center for DNA Fingerprinting and Diagnostics at in Hyderabad, made an excellent presentation of how India is an ethnic museum in itself, from Andaman and Nicobar Islands, from tribal populations to the most advanced urban populations, different languages, and genetic diversity. And the biodiversity that exists is just mesmerizing. No one could ever, a lifetime, and say, I have understood the Indian population well enough. So there is so much more to learn about the mysteries behind and the history and the evolution of the populations that have now today's population, which, like Dr. Tangaraj explained, it has four different populations in the north, western side of the country, northeastern, southern population being Dravidians, and the Eurasians and Indian. So it's very, very interesting how the populations have migrated over the last several centuries. So what's exciting to me on the language front is Microsoft CEO, Mr. Satya Nadella, was in India last year, or within the last year, and he was talking at, I think, World Health Organization or United Nations, addressing the opportunity for farmers talking in different languages in their local accent, because India is a country where every 100 kilometers, the language changes, the culture changes, the food changes, and the accent and the slang also changes. But having the chat GPT kind tool to understand and translate and help them accomplish their routine activities like completing a government subsidy form and such, by simply speaking in their own native language in their own way, and the ability of these voice recognition tools to convert them into text and get the form completed and submitted. That was fascinating. And that was already almost a year ago that I watched that video and was inspired. And Microsoft also has played a big role already in rare disease space. in collaboration with Takeda Pharmaceuticals and European Rare Disease Society, Microsoft created this global commission to end diagnostic odyssey for children with a rare disease. And that was several years ago, and I had the honor of being at the inauguration of this at Microsoft headquarters in Manhattan, in New York. And so I'm very, very thrilled that the empathetic leader of Microsoft, Satya, has his leadership has really paid attention to the needs of children with rare disease. So thank you, Satya.
Absolutely. And yes, thank you, Satya, and the whole team at Microsoft for everything that you've done to, on a volunteer basis, help us bring our relief services around the world. Angel Aid has grown from 7 women in our living room here at Barrett Family Ranch in Southern California in 2019. We hosted our very first hackathon with the Microsoft team, and we were able to launch our website, our mobile app, and convert our wellness methodology, again, through Microsoft employee volunteers, into 8 different languages, including Hindi. So we've been pulling that work forward as we host our wellness services. Our community is 15,000 strong across 33 countries. We know that because of Power BI actually analyzing our community data. So technology is foundational to Angel Aid's ability to expand our relief services. And those relief services are foundational to the whole rare disease community being able to find the treatments and the cures that are going to eradicate rare disease off the face of the planet. I know that in our next generation children's lifetime, that many of these rare diseases are going to be a thing of the past. I really, truly believe that. Harsha, I'm so thankful to you. Thank you for joining us today. It was a really wonderful discussion. I knew that we would have a great time working together and that it would be informative thanks to your deep expertise.
Thank you, Crystal, for everything that you do to help families affected by rare and other diseases.
Thank you so much. Okay, so we're going to play a video now about Indo-US Rare, and then I'll just wrap up our final appeal here and say thank you. So let's go ahead and hear.
Indo-US Rare to me is personal, emotional, professional, and a moral call of duty to help address the massive health inequities that exist between the Western and Eastern Hemisphere, particularly access to research and clinical trials for all persons affected by rare disease, particularly those of Indian diaspora, now the largest population in the world, who are still underrepresented in clinical research.
Indo-US Rare is the coming together of 2 significant geographies, India and the United States, to create an inclusive platform that develops collaborative solutions for those impacted by rare disease worldwide.
Indo-US Rare has helped us connect with other organizations and doctors in India that are aware of our gene mutation and help us identify patients.
Indo-US Rare is a non-profit. Our mission is to connect rare disease patients in India, the US, and around the world with the latest information, patient registries, and expert advice on care navigation and clinical trials.
Indo-US Rare is our response to what we heard firsthand from many persons with rare diseases. Each rare disease is a global public health issue.
What Indo-Rare US is doing is helping all the special families. So I feel that they are doing a very, very great job.
As someone who's Indian, Indo-US Rare has helped me realize that this problem is an international one, and it's a human issue, not a national one.
At Indo-US Rare, we want to promote collaborations between the East and the West among all the rare disease stakeholders by empowering our patient communities as well as training the next generation of researchers.
What our partnership with Indo-US Rare allows us to do is connect with an underserved population in region, in language, We would not be able to do that if we didn't have Indo-US Rare in our network.
And what Indo-US does better than almost anyone is bring people together to explore our different but overlapping journeys together in a mutually supportive way.
To me, Indo-US Rare is a voice for the global rare disease community.
Fantastic. So that concludes what has been really an amazing global festival of wellness within our community and within the Microsoft community and with our partner communities like Indo-US Rare. I just like to remind you that you are able to watch any of the broadcasts. We've been broadcasting live on YouTube like we're doing right now, but those broadcasts are available for replay. There are meditations, there are fitness experiences. We've been featuring authors like Dr. Alyssa Eppel, the preeminent stress expert from UCSF. We've been featuring Foreign Service Correspondent Jay Singh from the USAID Department talking about military mental health and what we can learn in the rare disease community from other sensitized communities like the military. We've been hearing from individual rare fathers and rare mothers. Tommy Pham, who is a rare father and runs Nike gaming partnerships lead, and his perspective as a father and the foundation leader of Raiden Science Foundation. So many, I could just keep going on and on. Certainly Smriti Bhattacharya from Microsoft and her lived experience as a rare mother and also as an employee volunteer supporting Angel Aid. So thank you to every individual that has helped us put together these experiences this month. We hope that you'll explore the really excellent, I think, programming that our team has managed to create. And in particular, I'd like to thank our producer, Christine Hackenbruck. She is also our community manager, and any of the groups that you join, you will see Christine at the helm. Please visit angelaidcares.org/give. And I promised you an end, a Hollywood ending to that love story about the Barrett family. You'll remember that Richard and Phyllis Barrett married in 1963. They had 5 children, 3 of whom passed away from mucopolysaccharidosis disease. And the stress of caregiving this large family with healthy children and very, very sick children broke them apart. They divorced in 1975. They each remarried a second time. They each divorced a second time. They each remarried again a third time, long-term marriages, very healing marriages. And they found themselves widowed within a year of each other. It happened to be the same year that our daughter Chloe was born, and the joyousness of that, as my mother is a carrier of MPS and I am a carrier of NPS, and so too is our daughter Chloe. 3 generations of rare disease carriers, 3 generations of challenge and difficulty. And what happened was beautiful. It was Richard and Phyllis finding their way back to each other after a lifetime of tragedy and beauty, and really forgiveness, empathy, and understanding. They were back together for 15 years, and they decided in 2023, you know what? It's been 60 years, let's get married again. So we were able to host their wedding in April of 2023. I'm so grateful to my parents. They are our #1 supporters at Angel Aid. Thank you. I hope that you've enjoyed this program. We hope that you've been inspired to support the work that we do. I will mention to you that we do have a $50,000 matching grant available. So everything you donate will be doubled and doubled again if you're a Microsoft employee. First, the Microsoft match. and then the Angel Aid match on top of that. So please do support our work. And if you know anybody in your community that needs support, or if you're a person that needs support, come to Angel Aid. We'd love to meet you. We'd love to introduce you to our very heart-led community. You can go to angelaidcares.org and click on our events and see our support services, our weekly support groups, monthly support groups. If you're interested in learning more about the Raregivers emotional journey map, please visit raregivers.global. And always, always follow us on social media. We'd love to see you there as well. Thank you very much. And this concludes our Raregivers global broadcast.